You're always writing your own story, and you have the pen for anything that you do. This is one of Carrie's posts, and welcome back to the Boundaries and Brotherhood, Carrie and Gordon Pullaro show. Every Tuesdays, if you're not watching this, YouTube, drop us a comment here on what we want to see. Explain, Carrie, who you are, what you stand for, and where did this post come from? Because to me, this was the topic of the day. Because if you're not writing your own story and you don't control the pen and you kind of lost track of everything else, that's on you. But we're here today to figure out what we can do. Let me get this all set up. Let me get it all set up for us, Carrie.
Yes. So thank you, Gordon. I'm Carrie Pullaro. I am a relationship and mindset coach, and I support high achieving women stop chasing love and realize that they're the prize. So yeah, this was a pretty polarizing post for some people. I got some good feedback on it, but what the topic is, you're always writing your story. So stop acting like you don't hold the pen. I observe that there are so many people that are attached to the story that they're currently writing, and because of the fear of the unknown, they're afraid to step into anything else. And they want to sit back and complain. So it's kind of like this. Look, if your life feels like it's a fucking drama series, it's because you're choosing that role instead of running the show and being the author and the writer. Just think of it like that. I mean, and I'm guilty of it.
Explain to me, because a few years ago, you thought things were going to be really different until you started putting in the work in yourself, figuring out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Carrie's version of the prize is not what people think, like she should be the prize, she should be on a pedestal. It's understanding, putting the self-worth, putting the work that you've been into yourself so you can be happy with yourself, and all the people that comes in your life are basically bonuses, right? Because nobody's responsible for the happiness in your life except yourself. Everybody else is. And even with me and Doc talk about it on Thursdays and on my business things that I got going on, you have control of your life. Now, whether you're using self-validation, looking for being confident, becoming the 11th man, using whatever stuff, you still hold the pen. What were some of the hard truths learned about love that changed everything for you with Abel? Give us a little backstory and some context for
it. Truths. Well,
I already know what's.
It's funny. I think about when I was younger, I loved watching soap operas when I was a kid, right? Because my mom watched soap operas. My friends did, like that was the big thing when I was younger. And then I had this idea that my life was like this and it needed to be a drama and like all this crap. But anyway, if your life feels like it's constant drama, it's because you're playing the role of the victim. And looking back now, I'm like, oh, wow, like that's what I was putting in my head with victim stories. Because let's face it, that's what it is. That's what soap operas are. But, today we get to step into the role of being the woman who runs the show. Like, because no one else is coming to write your story for you. Not your partner, not your parents, not your boss, but it's you. Like every choice, every standard, every boundary, every time you decide to show up differently, that's you putting new words on the page.
Right.
The moment you own that, then your story begins to change because you'll stop blaming, stop waiting for someone else to fix it. You realize that the only person that can move the needle is you. And so you finally get your power back.
What changed? I mean, from a person that's going from a victim mentality to putting the pen back in your hand to control your life, how do people change? Or what do they realize that, because I deal with a lot of people that have the victim mentality, have a certain upbringing, start doing the blaming, start doing the deflection. What is something that held on to you that really made you pivot? Because Miss Carrie was came from a different mindset at one point. This is what makes her so relevant to the content me and her produce, because it's so polar, but it's you can only talk from it if you experienced, lived it, and noticed the change. And this is why she's the best to me. I mean, because she don't even realize how much she knows. I believe that in my heart. You don't realize how much potential you have with the changes you make. Same like myself, right? The thing is, we've lived it. Now, when did you get so pissed off that you had to change?
I think I just got so pissed off at like blowing things up, blowing relationships up. What changed for me, it wasn't like a man or a magical moment or a milestone or anything like that, but it was really the realization that I was holding the pen the entire time. And I fought that for so long because I didn't want to take responsibility for the fact that I was writing my story. I would rather blame the guy or the circumstances.
Right?
Easier because I didn't have to accept, I
Course.
didn't have to be accountable and accept
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
But what I did realize was, doing the work, doing work on me, what was reflected back to me was that I was waiting for someone else, like to like bring me love and happiness. I was outsourcing my love and happiness.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah, and it was huge just realizing that waiting for someone else to like hand deliver on a silver platter love and happiness was never going to happen. That's my responsibility to create and generate
Correct.
within me.
Correct. I mean, it's your responsibility to figure out what makes you happy, what's going to push your boundaries. And the people that come in your life, they're going to come and go. Sometimes the friends that you thought were your friends, you just got to let them go sometimes. They feel their
Yes.
thing because they're not responsible for you and vice versa. I'm not responsible to make you happy in a way that if you're trying to blame me for something or deflect on me, it's not going to work. But explain to me how you just came up with that quote. She was outsourcing her love for what? Because is it because you didn't love yourself? You didn't take accountability? You thought it was because of those soap opera things? Why do women do that?
Well, for me personally, speaking for
Correct.
me,
Yes.
I just growing up, I had witnessed that was the behavior that my mom had. My mom is a total supporter. She just loves people so much. And there was always this idea that her partner would provide her the happiness or the pain. And I witnessed that thinking that's normal. And then I'd go into my
Right.
life behaving that way. Not that it's right or wrong, it's just a learning experience. So I was running in circles for all of my life, waiting for a man to choose me because I
Okay.
thought that that's where I would feel secure, or waiting for standards, like setting standards for others that I wasn't even willing to keep with myself, right? Like, so you had to behave a certain way,
Oh,
but I didn't have to. And then I'd like beat myself up in private while I'm trying to look like I had it all together in public. So there was so many things that went into this. I would just hand my power away, right? Because if I
you
weren't,
weren't.
no, not, it was me.
You weren't.
Absolutely. It all comes down to me because life is just me pushed out. Everything is being reflected back to me of how I'm being with myself.
Correct. Correct. Yep. Yep.
And so really it was a hard truth of, if I don't commit to myself, no one else will. If I'm beating myself up and tearing myself down, then the world will mirror it back to me. I'm
No,
going to attract
absolutely.
those type
100.
of people into my life. And if
Yes.
I'm waiting
100.
for someone else to hand me love or happiness, be waiting forever. You know what I mean? That's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
And
But
then you really did wait forever until it was the right timing. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
because if you cannot commit to yourself, like your post says, how can you expect somebody else to commit to you?
1000%.
And this is your quote from your page. It says, skipping promise to yourself and demanding from other people is kind of unfair. And that's where I see most relationships with modern women and modern times and all these shows on dating and these apps and there's all this bullshit going on. It's just kind of crazy because
Yep.
the belief system has changed how all that system worked. Now, even though it's hypocrisy, like you says, right? It's not high enough standards, especially when you're outsourcing your love, your happiness, and stuff. And once you figured it out, even like for me, it's like, okay, once you figure out that, like you said, nobody else is going to save you. Nobody else is responsible to control your emotions. You have the control. For me, you always have the keys for the locks, whatever
Yeah.
locks that is, whatever doors. And you're always writing yourself. So what happens when you lose control of the pen?
What do you mean when you lose control? Because you don't realize it.
Right,
Because you're stuck in the story.
Right, because I'm taking it from your stuff. Like you're choosing a role that you revert back to, right? Like explain that. Explain that post. Because the post says because you were able, you're at the park, you're at a festival, you're always writing your own story. So stop acting like you don't hold the pen. Because you always
You always hold a pen.
right.
If you don't like something, you can just change it. This is the beautiful thing too, is if you are in relationship or you have friends around you, like remember, people are always mirroring your behavior. So how are people showing up in your space? Even at
Mhm.
work, so you get to see every day, what a gift that you get to see how you're showing up based on the way people are with you. And that's the reality of it all. So it's like, if I don't like the way people are with me, then I get to take a step back and go, okay, how am I showing up in that way in other areas of my life?
So how do you change that though?
Oh
What kind of
man.
show me how to show the viewers, show the women that's watching this. How do you do it? How do you
Well,
actually do it though?
it's a choice. I became my own biggest fan instead of my worst bully. I raised my standards. I created boundaries, and not just in relationships, but like in how I treated me. Like that's the most important piece. I stopped outsourcing love. I stopped outsourcing happiness. I started choosing love and happiness every day. And that's when things started to change around me. So, that's when I was single for a while before I met Abel. And he walked in recognizing me as the prize because I was living like it, right? Like the story
You
only changed because I changed.
get
That's it.
get
That's
it.
the only way it can
Get it.
happen.
Yeah. Because like I remember you're gonna kill me for this. So 10 years ago, I do a call with Carrie, trying to find out what she want to do. I want to help her with her marketing is. And she's going off a whole tangent, guys. She goes, I'm still trying to find myself. And I'm like, whoa, okay. But I knew from right there we could be good friends because she just came on Taylor like this. I'm like, I don't know her from Adam. I made her from one of my other friends, Michael Hymas, right? I was like, oh, cool. So I said, we're going to work on this. We're going to do this. Years later, following her along and stuff. And I've seen the metamorphosis change, literally, right? When we began the show with Boundaries and Brotherhood, I said, I got to get her on because she don't even know she changed that much, that significantly, right? She don't even know that she did this in a way that will resonate with other people in this today's time, and especially with the women and the men dating scene now, right? Now, when you said stop being your own bully, did you mean stop beating yourself up for all the circumstances? Or stop beating yourself up so that you can attract? Because if you don't praise yourself, I mean, I'm not saying praising yourself for you're being cocky or being a bitch or anything like that, right? How does it how explain that to me?
Well, you can't tear yourself down in private and then wonder why you're not being celebrated in public
Okay.
or by men. And so you can't call yourself unworthy, lazy, and then expect a man, a friend, or the world to treat you like you're the prize. So,
Correct.
and there's just so many different ways to like being your own bully is it's the conversations that you're having in private with yourself in your head
Ooh.
when you pick yourself apart, your
Ooh.
body apart in the mirror. I'm in the middle of a program with some clients, and today they have an exercise with it's called confronting the mirror, where they get to stand naked in front of the mirror and just think of like look at the stories that are coming up, just observe them,
Yeah.
and it goes into like this entire sensual experience of like dancing and admiring your body. But the reality is, when I look in the mirror, what do I really see? Every time I talk to myself, what is the conversation? Am I in appreciation or am I like tearing it the fuck down? Because every time I'm sabotaging myself, that's me bullying me.
How does self-sabotage affect relationships, women, your communication style, all that goes along? Because that's a form of bullying if you're self-sabotaging everything. And is there a wrong way or right way? How do you go from point A to point B?
Well, I think self-sabotage is my secret way of trying to keep myself safe. And I don't even realize that I
Nice.
do it, right? So sometimes it can look like me lowering my standards to stay in relationship,
Mhm.
like
You've
telling
done that.
myself I'm being understanding, but I'm really abandoning myself. I'm allowing someone, like, I'm hoping that the situationship or the breadcrumbs will eventually turn into some type of a commitment, right?
Hoping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lowering my standards. I'm not enforcing my boundaries because I'm so afraid of being alone.
Right.
And that goes like right into being quiet about not voicing my needs. And I think I'm avoiding conflict, right? And not avoiding, it's just like I will
You're
tell
being
myself,
passive.
yeah,
That's
I'll tell
passive.
myself
Yeah.
that like I'll build a whole story behind it and say that it's all in the name of the relationship, but really all I'm doing is building fucking resentment because he
True.
can't meet needs
Mm.
that I can't communicate to him. Right. Like if he doesn't know the needs that or the requests that I have because I'm not communicating it, that shit's on me. So why am I getting mad at him?
Right. Right. Now, you have in one of your posts like, oh, let's reverse this. Using that mentality, does the wall hit for women coming from a woman? And then I'll go into my second question. Is it real?
What do you mean?
Like, because you talked about, you sabotaging your relationships, you don't want to be lonely. When you get a certain age, right? Do you start really wondering, is the wall for women really real? That they're going to either be a cat woman or they think you're not going to find love in a relationship and have a partner.
I believe we do fall into this
A trap.
story. We fall into this story that like
Okay.
love isn't out there for me when we hit a certain age and we can't
Oh,
have children or whatever.
okay.
But it's just being mindful of that story that like where'd that story come from? And is it really true? Because I see people all the time that are my age and older that are meeting and, falling in love and getting married
Good.
and just enjoying themselves in
Beautiful.
relationship. I mean, it doesn't even have to
Beautiful.
look like marriage.
And you ship
Yeah, it's just
friendships, everything.
absolutely.
But that's what leads you to this statement, right? If you're playing by the rules written by divorced parents, bitter friends, or because in some weeks ago, right? We talked about love isn't a checklist. It's two people basically, like you said, deciding what works for them. They're in
Yeah.
a perfect relationship. If you think somebody's perfectly, yeah, you might have the money, you might have the cars, you might have photogenic this going up on IG and everything else, and they're selling you a program for this, but it's what works for them. My relationship is completely different from what Carrie does with Abel, right?
Yeah.
And my relationship with my other clients, my guests, are completely different, and it's such a wonderful thing to see, but it works for everything because there's no cookie cutter thing.
There isn't.
So explain, where do you think these beliefs come from, and why do people stick to it? Because
Well, I believe we just repeat what we know and what we've learned. And until I've created enough pain to where I'm like, oh, like this doesn't work. Like, oh my God, how am I divorced twice? And I keep blowing up relationships. Like, what's happening here? Because the common denominator is me.
not everybody understands that and will take that into accountability. Anybody watching this, anybody replay, is taking accountability for yourself and really sitting down with the echo chamber, like Carrie said, and going in the mirror and seeing what works. Like, you have body shaming, you may be unconfident, you might have anxiety, you might have all of this stuff. Once you get past that, life gets much easier for you but you have to sit down and really think about it. It's like, oh shit. I call it the oh shit moment, right? And that leads to the next one.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, and it's always assessing. Like I get to constantly
Yes.
assess who's around me. Do I hang out with people that swear that like all men are trash? Because like
Yeah.
that's their beliefs, that's not my truth, and I don't take it on. And maybe I don't hang out with those people. Maybe I get to change my friend group.
That's
And
huge.
even just think of the stories that your parents told you when you were younger or how they showed up in relationship. The message that I received, and again, this is all interpretation. The interpretation I took of my parents' relationship was that love always ended in betrayal. Now, getting
Okay,
older,
no, I get it,
I
I get it.
realize that's their story, and that's an interpretation of their story. That's not the true story because I wasn't there. I'm not in the relationship, but it's not the one that I'm meant to live, regardless of what their story is. I'm not meant to live that interpretation. And understanding that I get to create something different is the power move, right? And it really is about just me choosing into the possibility of creating something different. I don't have to play out these same stories. That's why I don't read these fucking romance novels and shit like that anymore, because I would get so caught up in these
You're
stories and
obsessed with it, and how the your partner doesn't. You put in your post. Your partner is not supposed to fix you, correct?
Mhm.
You believe that. How many women think when they get to a partner, like a solid, good person that a partner is, why do they treat them like their emotional janitor?
Boo hoo hoo hoo.
That's your
Um,
words.
Nice. Because I used to do it. I used
Okay.
to do it. And
The women do it, first of all.
well, honestly, I would unload like every insecurity. I always
Okay.
thought that my partner was going to fix me, right? I mean, it goes back to that old belief of someone is going to complete me. I didn't realize I'm whole and complete on my own. I'm wanting my partner to fix me. So I'll unload my insecurities, my fears, my frustration to him, and I'm expecting him to clean it up. I want him to
Okay.
fix the wounds that I've been avoiding for years. When
The
the truth is,
trauma, the back stuff.
yeah, when really, if anything, that means that there is an opportunity for me to grow. I had this idea that I would hand him, like I'm handing him my mess, and then I'm getting pissed off at him when he can't make it disappear. But that's just not partnership. I'm outsourcing my healing.
Well, you
I'm trying to
right.
outsource my healing because I don't want to face off with it. I don't want to face off with the wounds. I'm avoiding taking responsibility. A man can hold you, a man can love you and support you, but he's not meant to like mop up your shit. It's not going to work.
Now, when you say if you do you give him the respect as a man if he doesn't do it, or do you want more in that case when he can't? And then you guys start fighting. But ultimately, it's your responsibility. But that does it come from being mature about it, or like you said, the accountability issues, or what direction does it go? Because you know the old Carrie might have not noticed this. Now you notice this, and you coach other women to realize this thing, right? How does that dynamic work in you now?
Well, the moment I stopped expecting him to rescue me,
Uh-huh.
things began to shift because I started bringing my whole self to the conversation rather
Right.
than the wounds. And then I was taking responsibility for my triggers, recognizing that when I have an emotional charge, like everything is neutral. I come back to that all the time. Everything's neutral. And if there's an emotional charge present, it has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with how I'm interpreting what's happening. And that usually means there's a wound I've ignored. So I get to go back and reflect on that because I'm essentially shifting from codependency and creating a space for true intimacy by cleaning up my side of the street. And then the relationship evolves, the connection gets deeper because we're both coming to the table from a space of being responsible, handling our emotions. And I remember a conversation that we had when we first started dating, and he said to me, before you get on a call with me, if you're upset, you get to handle your
Yeah.
emotions and process them before you get on a call. Because that's, for one, I mean, it's being accountable and responsible. And at the same time, it's being respectful.
And then I use that exact line that you told me with, that Abel told you on self and with Andrea, with a situation that just came about. Because it's perfect, but it's like you said, we'll deal with what you need to deal with first. Then we'll sit down and talk and not have our emotions blow each other up. Because if not,
Yes,
happen, right? You never do lose the pin. That's a perfect example of that, right? I know you want to talk about
absolutely.
that. Go ahead.
Oh man. Well, because this is the thing. Like my pattern was I'm gonna come in and I'm a nuclear fucking bomb. I'm gonna just blow up the conversation. That was always my because I need you to understand how I'm feeling. But the reality is, like, you need to understand, no one is having the same life experience you are. Like my experience and my interpretations of what's happening is completely different than his because we both lived completely separate lives beforehand. So
Mm.
thinking that someone else is going to understand how you're feeling and all of the things is just impossible. That's not going to work. But understanding that we're both two completely different people and let me go process what's happening for me, and that can look a lot of different ways. It can look like calling for coaching. It can look like journaling. It can look like whatever. However, you're going to process your emotions and get rid of them so that you can come to the conversation in a neutral place. Like that's the most important part. And I used to have a rule, and I've gotten better at it. But my rule was I get to
Well,
wait
it was
24 hours before we have a conversation. That was the rule. And
okay.
it was because I couldn't, within 24, anything less than 24 hours, I was unable to come neutral. But when I found that when I can go to bed and sleep on something, like that was supporting me in like neutralizing the event and the emotions and the feelings and all the things. So I would still do my work and process it, but then I would
Okay.
wait 24 hours to have a conversation. Let's visit it tomorrow. And I wouldn't hold it against him through that 24-hour period. We're going to put a pin in it and we're going to come back, right? Because this is all about teamwork. It's not about, it's you against me.
Because once you start getting into that aspect, then, but that goes to your other goals. You got to handle, either you handle your emotions or basically they'll handle you for you. Because it's either going to do something or bash you in the head, put you back in prison, put you back into a substance, put you back into life, put you back into something that you don't want to do, all because you lost control of that pen or that key, like you said.
Yeah.
Real power, according to both of us, is walking through hard conversations and being neutral about it so you can think rationally. Right?
Yes. Absolutely. It's always, so the thing that I really remember them and what supports me is return to neutral. And that's everywhere in life. Like return to neutral, return to neutral. Like whatever I'm doing in that moment, like return to neutral. That's the clearest energy that I can be in, is when I'm in neutral, when I'm grounded, because I make my best decisions from there. That's when I hear my intuition as well.
So talk to me about this post, right? When you put, this is for the women out there, right? Because this is why I have Miss Pullaro on here, right? Love and happiness aren't delivered. They're basically chosen, right? If you're waiting for a man, a ring, or a milestone to make you happy, because some women don't get this, right? Please explain to the women watching this that might have been in your situation, the old you maybe.
So this is how I think of it, because a man will not make you happy. It's just like me thinking alcohol and drugs were going to make me happy. Like shopping is going to make me happy. Like going to the gym like 8 times a day is going to make me happy. None of these things are like surgery is going to make me happy. Getting a boob job is going to make me happy. None of that shit made me happy. And it's like so many people are out here auditioning for love like it's a missing piece to their life. Like they chase, and it's about chasing the relationship. When I used to chase that high that drugs and alcohol and shopping and all the things would give me, right? Like they chase the relationship, the ring, the validation, like believing once they're chosen, then they'll finally feel secure. Like I'm finally going to feel beautiful. I'm going to be enough because somebody picked me. But if you can't create your own joy, you're going to resent him because he can't fill the void. And he can't. Like there is not a man on the planet that can fill the void for you. And the second that he pulls back, then you are going to lose your mind. And if you don't know how to love you, you're going to cling to him. Like for any kind of scraps that he can give you and call it connection. And then that's just going to be so needy and push him away, because a man can add to your happiness, but he just can't be the source of it. The source of your happiness is you. You get to build your own joy. You get to live like the prize. A man doesn't make you happy. He gets to amplify the happiness you already have.
Nice. I mean, that's just what you just said. That's the whole showing and aspect, because if you don't understand that, then you have a lot of work that you have to do on yourself for everything else that's going forward, right? Because if there's no way, whatever decision you make, when you see you can go blow through $1 million, I can blow through $1 million and still go and not feel nothing at one point in my life, right? Make it back again with the lifestyle we're leading. But now you compare it to the lifestyle I have now, where it's like, I'm content. I'm happy. I don't have to be the so-called person everybody comes out, because the validation for myself is like, I'm at peace with everything else. And if you figure that out the sooner than the later, life gets much easier and you get to enjoy what it has to offer, especially within yourself, right? Because when you find that, and the hard truth learned behind that, and you actually know what it is, you're going to radiate a certain type of energy. that just attracts opportunity, people, love, and you're going to repel the ones that's not supposed to be in that realm. Do you agree or not?
Oh my God, I totally agree. Like being at peace within yourself is where it's at. It's the most attractive thing you can embody because confidence isn't an outfit. It's not the money. It's not your highlight reel on Instagram. It's within you when you walk into a room without needing to prove anything. It's an energy of someone who knows that they're the prize, which for me just means that they're confident within themselves. Because when you're at peace, like you stop chasing all the shiny objects.
Yeah, once you get rid of the shiny objects, then it's all gravy after that. Because you get to, in fact, you become the shiny object if you do it right.
Oh my God, yes. I was just sharing with a client today. I was like, when you're at peace, like you radiate this certainty that pulls people in. Like
Unbelievable.
you don't have to lift a finger because you're just being you. So like men, opportunities, friendships, work, everything responds differently when your inner world is calm as fuck and secure. The magnetism isn't from a trick. It's not from makeup. It's from someone who's chosen to stop fighting themselves and live in alignment with who they truly are.
I bet the best test, I'm gonna give the best test, right? I'm gonna give you a, I call it, I put it in my head is it's my kids test, right? What do kids want, right? And it boils down to what women want, what every human being wants. It goes back to where you came out already perfect, like Doc said. You already came out perfect. But for some reason along the line, we get misguided, especially in social media. So what my kids want, they want attention, security, they want to learn, they want to feel good about themselves, and they want to play, which is happiness, right? And this is the exact same things you want as an adult, but you lost that. You lost that along the way, whether it's money, drugs, addiction, whatever another person because of self-validation. You came out perfect. It's just a matter you got misguided, mistreated, and you had to form your own stuff.
I love that you took us back to the childlike wonder because the grown-up version is like the car, the house, the job. But when you strip away all that pressure, the timelines, all that crap, you just brought me back to the little girl that didn't want 6 figures. She just wanted to feel safe. And
safe,
yep,
security, yep,
absolutely. Like the little girl who doesn't need a ring or doesn't need to be married for validation. She just wanted to be loved without conditions.
That's, you still get to write your own story, chasing back to when you came out.
Yep.
Because that's where, until, even if you have, the guy on life surge where he has no arms, he has no legs, he hasn't the time, he still is happy as shit. Because he radiates from the inside, knowing he's got security, he's confident, he doesn't blame his circumstances. Any person that's watching this video is going to watch this and replay. You're in the phase in life that you can get out of, right? Regardless. You just have to get back to controlling that pen that controls your life, that writes your own story. Until you're in that box, you still have a chance. Me and Carrie are perfect examples, even for the people that I work with, or might not seem that way. But once you put in the work, that you still can control your life, and you always writing that book, it's always going to change. It's how you handle those situations. Go back to those 5 simple things, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I've now lived more than half the life. What's important? Giving these things, and this is why I do these shows, because one day, at least I can tell when my sons get older, or the grandchildren I'll never meet, get to see this, I wanted to take that advice I give them that's going to be lasting legacy.
Yes.
Because that's cool, right? I mean, that's honorable. Why am I leaving them? Money they're going to spend, go through. They want information. What would dad do? What would, you know what I mean? Something like that. Holy crap. How do you fix this if you was in this situation? Whew. Talk to the old Carrie. Then we can end with that one.
Stop abandoning yourself. A lot of times people don't understand what that means. Like, what do you mean abandoning myself? Like, I'm here, but really looking at it from a different perspective. Like, start giving the little girl inside of you what she's always wanted. You don't need to fix her. You just get to listen to her. this goes for men too, right? Like, just get quiet enough to listen. Stop numbing yourself out with busyness and distractions and just sit with her or him, right? And stop trying to outsource your happiness. Like, you get to choose you. The two additional things that really supported me was reparenting myself. That started with me letting myself know that, hey, I'm showing up for you. You're safe today. You're enough. You're safe. Because the conversations of me tearing myself down, I'm repeating what hurt her in the first place. If I now reparent and be the woman who says, hey, I've got you. You're safe. You're enough. And just condition that and to my conversations, that supported me. Then the final thing for me was building safety within my body,
Nice.
like within my nervous system. It's not just the mindset. It's not just saying that I'm going to do it, but it's also practicing breathing, any type of regulation, grounding myself, just creating peace within me, knowing that I'm the source of all of it. So just giving myself those moments, and that goes with putting myself first. I'm putting myself first. I'm giving myself those moments to breathe and regulate and ground. That is putting myself above everything. And that's not selfish at all. That is
Right,
me
that's a
taking
big
care of me so that I'm in a better space to take care of those around me.
I mean, it's like, that's going to be a perfect way to end the show for today. Guys, girls, replay viewers, if you're watching this, if you have problem taking accountability for yourself, you want to live a dream that you're content with, and you want to find happiness within yourself, reach out to myself, Miss Carrie, figure out how we can get you some resources so that you can actually go through the same things so that you can have what's not owed to you, but go back to how you used to be perfect when you came out of your mom. I mean, you take away, help you strip away all those things that you might be misguiding you, and figure out a way to get you on a path so that you can be happy with yourself, and everybody else comes in your life is just going to be bonuses instead of a strange way, right? All right. This is Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. I'll say aloha every time you come down. Carrie, end the show.
Oh, well, thank you for tuning in. I'm Carrie Pullaro, relationship and mindset coach. And just remember that the moment that you choose yourself, you're finally choosing the woman you've always wanted to be. And I'm just going to leave it with that.
See you guys next week, Tuesday. All right, reach out.
Thanks for watching. Please be sure to watch the other episodes. And if you want help of any sort, please reach out. If you're feeling generous, please leave us a comment.